I'm Teresa Marzoff with Culture Engineered, and this month our weekly updates have been focused around the performance appraisal process. This week we are focusing on how to make your employee review meeting and discussion a valuable one. So let's get started. Step number one is to have the employee do a self-evaluation in which he or she evaluates his own performance over the past period of time and also creates goals for himself or herself. There are two reasons why this is a great first step. Reason number one, we as just human nature, we tend to not respond well to sometimes critical feedback when it's given to us by someone else. We are, however, often very open and honest and recognize where we could do better and are not doing so well. Because of this, it's much easier to have an employee first allow them the opportunity to kind of assess where they're doing well and where they're not, so that you don't have to go into detail about that as much as just agree with them. That way you're kind of working around this whole natural instinct for the employee to become defensive. The other reason that this is a really valuable step is because one of the ultimate goals in doing any type of performance evaluation is to get into the employee's mindset. You as a leader really want to understand what your employees think they are doing well and maybe not so well, and how that translates to company's success. So by having them evaluate what they're doing well, not so well, and what their goals are, outlining just a rough outline of their goals for the upcoming period, if you do them annually, then an annual goal, that really helps you figure out what's going on in their head, and so that you can kind of address that and make sure you get on the same page. So that's step number one, have the employee do a self-evaluation and create self-goals. Step two then is to review that self-evaluation that they have put together and identify where there are gaps. Because again, like we said, one of the ultimate goals is to get you two on the same page. So you want to see, where their perception on what matters about the job or how they're doing a great job in their role, how that's different from what you think. And that's where you're really going to spend the majority of your time and energy in the review, because that is likely what's leading to underperforming employees, or that person to not meet your expectations or the expectations of the role. So again, really identify where there are gaps in your perception of the employee's performance and how that translates to company success compared to the employees. Step three then is to ask for clarification on any unclear evaluation comments or goals. So the employee doesn't need to put their goals into SMART format. I think we've all heard the SMART, SMART format. The employee shouldn't need to do this. It's really hard to do oftentimes. You, however, in kind of shaping and finalizing their goals, should put it into this format. So it's really important before going into any discussion with the employee, any formal meeting about their evaluation, to understand the meaning and what they are getting at in their evaluation overall and their goals. So if the goal seems way off, something that you don't understand how that would make them more successful in the job at all, really dive into that, ask them what they mean, why they think that's important. That context is going to be really helpful to you later as you approach that discussion with them. So that's step number three, asking for clarification on unclear evaluation comments or goals. Step four then is schedule time to review their evaluation with them. Do not just email them their evaluation or even give it to them ahead of time. I really encourage leaders to schedule time and allow the employee to review the evaluation with you. Couple reasons for this. The main one being the way we read things nowadays, especially, we kind of rush through it and and then look for things we disagree with, at least how we review reviews or performance evaluations. So a lot of times they'll miss the good things, the things they agree with. And so again, kind of looking the emotional piece in any evaluation is very important. So you'll want to schedule time to review with them, and you'll want to make sure that that is uninterrupted time. This will vary based on the person himself. If it's a very chatty person or a defensive person or someone that's really had challenging performance over the past period, it's going to be a longer time that you meet. If you do them regularly, maybe you do evaluation, performance discussions and evaluations on an ongoing basis. Maybe it's monthly or quarterly or something. Yours are probably going to be shorter time frames. So really look to tailor it to that individual to make it effective. So there's the saying, I think, that was attributed to Abe Lincoln: if I have 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'm going to devote 6 hours to sharpening my axe. This time and energy that you spend in the evaluation is really going to dictate their performance for the upcoming period. So if you do them annually, the upcoming year. So again, sharpen your axe. Spend the time here so that you get better results after, and it'll really pay off. Make it count. Step number 5 then is in the discussion with the employee, because again, they should be seeing it for the first time while you're going over it with him or her. Address each aspect of the evaluation thoroughly and keep energy calm and balanced, okay? So this isn't a tit for tat. This isn't combative time. You need to stay focused, but also listen. Because again, the goal here is to get you guys on the same page. It's just as important for them to understand what you expect as it is for you, the leader, to understand why they're not doing that now. That doesn't mean you're accepting their excuses. Please understand, listening is not the same as accepting. You just need to understanding. Really understanding this is why they've not met those expectations or haven't. And they need to understand that this is what they need to do moving forward. So again, there's some kind of common ground in there. And anytime that you're moving toward that common goal of getting one mindset of what that person's performance should look like, that is really achieving something. So spend the time, address each aspect of the evaluation. Don't oftentimes folks will want to talk about what they're doing well and skip over what they're not doing well, or even turn conversations about what they're not doing well into conversations about what they are doing well. So again, on the stay focused piece, just kind of acknowledging, yes, I understand, but I understand your attendance is stellar. What I'm talking about, however, is your ability to communicate effectively with your peers. So again, keeping it calm, don't let it escalate, and don't get combative. Step number 6 then is allow the employee to digest the information that you discuss and really think it over, as well as identify what they need in order to achieve the goals that you've outlined. So I think a lot of times we think employees that push back or express concerns are problematic, and this is just not the case. You need, for this to work, you need employees to buy in. So it's really important that they kind of think through this, and you know that they're doing that by asking you questions and expressing concerns. And you set a follow-up day. Maybe allow them 2 days to think it over, and set a follow-up date where they can express that and work through any concerns and finalize goals and evaluations. So that's definitely step number 6. Step number 7 then is make arrangements for any needs that they have. Like I said, they likely are expressing any concerns that they have. Maybe they need additional training on something, or better tools, or whatever that might be. So meet your end of that commitment, and then schedule ongoing one-on-ones. Performance should be an ongoing discussion. So a leader both holds the employee accountable and guides them through the process of meeting their goals. Step number 8 then, if you've budgeted for pay changes throughout the year, or at this time, you'll want to, now that evaluations have been kind of finalized for performance, you'll want to make any pay increases based on your compensation strategy. We did talk about that more in depth earlier this month, and it was the 6 steps to determining employee pay increases. So if you need more help in deciding on your compensation strategy, that would be a helpful tutorial for you. But now would be the time that you decide how much should be paid to the employee as far as compensation, or maybe it should be instead invested in professional development, whatever would best support that employee in advancing or improving. And then step number 9, it's our final step, but often most forgotten, follow up, adjust goals, and celebrate successes. So again, performance is ongoing. So when it's done correctly, this should be a fluid process. So you're meeting on one-on-ones, maybe bi-weekly, maybe once a month. I wouldn't let it go too much longer than once a month. And the employee in those one-on-ones would provide an update on their goals, where they are, express any concerns, or ask for help maybe if they're not sure what to do. And then also adjust goals as needed. Business needs change, so it's natural that goals may change. And then celebrate when they achieve those goals. It's a really big deal. So hopefully these have been helpful for you. If you need any more help with your performance evaluations or and just employee reviews in general, please reach out to Culture Engineered. Otherwise, tune in with us next month when we discuss the ins and outs of hiring. Thank you.